With ongoing interest rate rises, the cost of living pressure and stagnant wages for many people, economists have found that middle Australians are working harder than ever but getting less in their pay packet pre-COVID. Joining me live is Dr Brendan Rynne, Chief Economist at KPMG. Thank you very much, Brendan, for joining us.
Thanks, Jane.
Tell us more on this, because we are hearing that there could be some interest rate cuts this year. How confident are you, first of all, on that?
Look, we're pretty confident that we'll start to see interest rates cut in the second half of this year. Certainly, we think that the Reserve Bank has topped out its interest rate increases with regards to the cash rate. And what we expect is that inflation is going to come down relatively quickly this year, such that by the end of the year, it's probably still going to be on the top end of the RBA target band, slightly above it. But that's going to allow the Reserve Bank to bring interest rates back down. And we expect probably 50 basis points worth of cuts in the second half of this year. So seeing the cash rate fall from 4.35 to 3.85%.
We've also got the other factors, including the stage 3 tax cuts coming through in the middle of the year. So what are you looking at with all of these different factors?
So I think the analysis that you've been referring to at the introduction, really good work done by Professor Ben Phillips at ANU, has shown that the middle income earners towards the higher income earners in Australia, what are called quartiles 3 and 4, which is the 40 to 60% of household income earners and the 60 to 80% of household income saw their real disposable income go backwards in the last couple of years. And really that's because what they had the double whammy of both interest rate increases on their mortgages, and they're most likely to be where most of the house mortgages are located. They've seen their wages grow, but not as much as inflation. But that wage growth has ticked them up into higher tax brackets, which has meant that they've had to pay higher taxes and that bracket creep as well. So unfortunately, those middle income earners in Australia have had that double effect of both higher mortgage payments combined with higher tax payments, which means that their spending capacity has fallen quite dramatically over the last few years. Now, to some degree, we'll see that turn around this year. We'll see inflation come back. We'll see the interest mortgage payments come back. And with the stage 3 tax cuts, that will provide some relief to many income earners as well. So we do expect that to come around a little too, but still not enough to bring back those middle income earners back to the same position they were prior to COVID.
All right, so are you anticipating then, by the sounds of it, the first sort of 6 months of this year will be still quite tough, but then really starting to ease back off after that for most people?
Yeah, for most people. I mean, I think that there's lots of households out there that are just holding on by their fingernails at the moment. The question's going to be whether they can keep holding on for the next 6 months. There has been a large level of savings built up during COVID. The question is really it's whether those households that are holding on by their fingernails have got access to that savings. Most likely they're probably two different types of household groups. But nonetheless, it's still only a smaller proportion of the Australian households. Then by the middle of the year, we start to see some relief starting to come through, still with higher wages, reduced tax payments through the stage 3 tax cut, that then going to be augmented by reduced interest rates.
Do you have any advice or tips for people?
Oh, look, I think the main thing for all of us, me included, is watch how you spend your money over the next 6 months. Try to get through the next 6 months and realise that these difficult times do end. It comes in cycles, and we expect that cycle to start to move upwards in terms of favouring households sooner rather than later, but there's still a little bit of pain to get through.
Yeah, and it's also economists predicting that there's only going to be a bit of a moderate price increase in house prices this year, which is good for some, not for others.
Yes, no, that's right. And the drivers of that house price growth last year were just more the fundamentals than the elements around pricing itself in terms of interest rates. It's been much more the migration patterns that we've seen, more than 500,000 net overseas migration coming through just at the same time that housing supply was coming off. And that housing supply has come off because of cost of build factors as well as interest rates. The market will sort that out. We're confident that will sort it out over time. But what that means into the short term is some pressures around rents.
Dr. Brendan Rynne, thank you so much for your time and expertise. Really appreciate you joining us on Sky News. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Janie, and Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, Happy New Year as well.